It begins without a sound, a shift so subtle it goes completely unseen. You're just a kid, maybe 8 years old, looking at a parent who is coming undone. It could be depression, it could be rage, or maybe it's just the crushing weight of an absence where a parent should have been. And in that silence, a primal switch flips inside you. The survival instinct whispers, if I don't become the anchor, this entire ship will sink. This is how a child vanishes, not from the world, but from themselves. They laugh when they're supposed to. They swallow their tears. They become experts at forecasting the mood in a room before they even speak a word. They turn into the emotional compass for their entire family, a miniature adult in a body that's still growing, and the world rewards this performance. You're so capable for your age, they say. So reliable. But nobody ever wonders, what is the price of this armor? This is the hidden sorrow of the child who had to mature too soon, and the psychology behind it is what we must unravel today. Because these echoes don't fade when you turn 18. They travel with you. They seep into your relationships, your career, your very sense of value. And if you never decode what took place, you'll spend your adulthood reenacting the very coping mechanisms that once kept you safe but now keep you trapped. Let's begin with the developmental term for this, parentification. This is the role reversal where a child provides the emotional support a parent cannot. This dynamic doesn't just create stress, it fundamentally restructures the developing brain. When a young mind is constantly tasked with managing overwhelming feelings, their own or a parent's, it creates a state of hyper-alertness. You are perpetually braced for the next crisis. You learn that affection is conditional, something you must earn by providing stability. You learn your own needs are an inconvenience, while the needs of others are emergencies. So you retreat, not from the house, but into a shell. And in your place, a highly functional persona is constructed. You are the overachiever, the reliable friend, the perpetual giver who never seems to need anything. You wear this identity so well that you eventually forget it isn't real. But underneath, a deep ache remains. The inner child you had to silence isn't gone. They are still there, asking a single desperate question. Why was I left alone to handle this? You were a child trying to do an adult's job. As an adult, the symptoms evolve. You might become fiercely self-reliant, refusing assistance and isolating yourself, never quite believing that love is safe. You might feel detached during moments of happiness, because joy feels like a foreign language you never learned to speak. You might tie your entire self-worth to your productivity, because resting feels like laziness, and laziness feels like worthlessness. The most insidious part? You may not even recognize you're still operating from a place of survival. When chaos is your normal, your nervous system learns to expect it. Calm feels suspicious. Quiet feels like the calm before a storm. Love feels like a transaction waiting to be collected. This is the psyche of a child who was forced to grow up too quickly. It's not simply a sad memory, it's a complex trauma that reshapes your entire reality. So why would a child willingly accept this burden? The answer is rooted in our most basic wiring. Attachment. A child will choose connection over authenticity every single time. It is not a conscious decision. It is a biological imperative. When safety is missing, the self is fragmented to secure belonging. That isn't a flaw. It's a brilliant, heartbreaking survival tactic. But the great tragedy is this. The very strategies that protected you in the past become the walls of your prison in the present. So many of us are high-functioning adults being secretly piloted by a wounded, lonely inner child. We strive for excellence to feel worthy of love. We stay small to avoid causing problems. We care for everyone around us while secretly hoping someone will finally notice we are barely holding it together. That fantasy, that someone will see through your strength and finally give you permission to not be okay, that is the unmet longing of the child within, not the adult you appear to be. The child you were is waiting for you to return. The initial step toward healing isn't about solutions, it's about acknowledgement. Until you fully honor your own history, you will continue to dismiss your pain with thoughts like, it could have been worse, or, I'm managing just fine. But fine is just another performance. You know this deep down. What becomes of this child in adulthood? They become adults who feel uneasy in peaceful rooms. They become partners who are suspicious of kindness. They become people who give effortlessly but cannot accept a simple gift. They are the ones who say sorry for having feelings, who struggle to hear a compliment, and who wear exhaustion as a badge of honor. This is the true cost of a stolen childhood. If your early years trained you to be tough instead of tender, to be polite instead of truthful, to repair others while ignoring your own broken parts, what kind of life have you built? You've built a life where you are perpetually waiting for a rescue that never comes. But here is the reality no one tells you. No external savior is coming for the child you left behind. You are the only one who can make that journey back. You are the one who must take that child's hand. You are the one who must speak the words you needed to hear. You should have been protected. You were so small. It is okay to stop now. This is the essence of inner work. It isn't about fixing or achieving or pretending the hurt doesn't exist. It is about turning towards the parts of yourself you were forced to exile and saying, I am here with you now. I am listening. This process of repair is arduous because it demands you finally feel the grief you had to postpone. It requires you to sit with the anger, the profound sadness, the needs that were never met, to cry for the celebrations that passed unnoticed, to grieve for the innocence you surrendered while shielding the very people who should have been your shelter. That sorrow, however, is not a sign of breaking. It is evidence that you are mending. The ice around your heart is finally beginning to thaw. Now let's examine how these survival blueprints manifest in your adult life, often in quiet, devastating ways. You might be the counselor for all your friends, yet never allow anyone past your own walls. You might be applauded for your self-sufficiency, while secretly fearing that needing help makes you a problem. You might find yourself in partnerships where you are constantly overgiving, managing, and explaining, and then feel surprised by your own simmering resentment. You might find it impossible to set limits because no still feels like a dangerous word. These are not character flaws. They are survival skills, learned through necessity, and the hopeful part is that they can be unlearned. But this only becomes possible when you stop worshiping your resilience and start tending to your injuries. One of the most profound steps you can take is to gently ask your younger self, what did I need back then that I never received? The answers may arise softly. I needed to hear it wasn't my responsibility. I needed someone to see my struggle. I needed permission to be careless, to rest, to be loud. And gradually, you start to offer these very things to yourself, not to erase the past, but to stop being a prisoner to it. This is how you break the cycle of seeking a caretaker in your romantic partners. This is how you learn to distinguish between genuine intuition and the static of old anxiety. This is how you end the internal war between the child you had to be and the person you are meant to become. The philosopher Carl Jung taught that we cannot awake to our true selves without confronting our pain, that we will construct entire lives to avoid facing our own shadows. But this work demands we face it. All of it, the forgotten, the ashamed, the terrified, the furious parts. Healing is not a transformation into a new person. It is a homecoming to the person you were before the world asked you to carry its weight. So, if you are someone who had to grow up too fast, please understand this. Your capability was never the issue. The tragedy was that you were never given a choice. But in this moment, you have one. You can choose tenderness. You can choose to pause. You can choose to release the burden of managing the emotional weather for everyone around you and start honoring your own inner climate. It won't be an instant change. Some days, you will feel small and vulnerable again. Good. Let that happen. Welcome that child home. Let them express their sadness. Let them be silly. Let them be truly witnessed, perhaps for the first time. You are not damaged goods. You are on the path to integration. And maybe, for the very first time, you are learning how to truly mature. Not because you are forced, not out of fear, but guided by your own truth. Your childhood was lost, but your future remains. And now, you hold the pen. If this conversation resonated with you, please support our community by liking this video and subscribing to Winds of Thought for more journeys into understanding.